So, Keith Hill, thanks for agreeing to talk to us. Maybe if you could start just by giving a little bit of a sort of a background about how you think African exploration and production hopes are going. Obviously, there's been a sort of a tough couple of years. Does the future look more promising?
I think exploration's been a dirty word for probably about 4 or 5 years now, and part of the reason is we didn't find a lot of oil and gas. So I think if you look at the dearth of discoveries, it's kind of coupled with the dearth of actually drilling wells. So it's not completely that we're just poor explorers. It's partly that everybody just stopped exploring when the oil price went down. And now I think we're starting to see some renaissance. Especially first we saw Guyana, although it's not currently part of Africa. You can reconstruct it, and there's a lot of similarities between the West African margin and Guyana. Then I think also, the Brule Powder discovery that we're involved in South Africa, I think people are starting to have another look. I think it's quite interesting that the people are really getting into it are the majors. If you really believe shale was going to solve all of our problems, why would you even bother doing high-risk deep water exploration in Africa? But they all are. All the guys, Exxon, Shell, Total, BP, all the guys that do have a presence in shale are also saying, well, maybe we need to hedge our bets a bit and start doing deep water exploration. So I think this is a fantastic time to be getting exploration acreage because there's not much of competition. I think you'll see with a couple more discoveries, I think you're going to see it really take off on the continent.
Fantastic. And with your Kenyan discoveries, obviously you're a little bit further down the road from that sort of frontier exploration. How do you think progress is going? Obviously, there's been a lot of hope, and it's possibly been going slower than people expected.
Yeah, I think we're probably 2 years behind where we thought we were going to be. I think part of it was the oil price drop, which made us kind of refocus our economics, cost, the way we're developing the field. I think part of it was Total coming in and taking over Maersk. It took them a little while to get their feet under the table and understand. But right now, I think we've done all of the subsurface work. We've done almost all the above ground work. We've finished our feed studies, both in the midstream and the upstream. We've done early production pilots. We've done our early production scheme, water injection pilots. We're feeling very comfortable about the reservoir and the project. So the only thing we're focused on now is getting contractual terms worked out. Kenya's never produced oil and gas before, so this is all brand new for them. So they're having to start at square one on a lot of this. So I think we're very close, but if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said we're very close as well. So I think the proof will be in the pudding, as soon as we make the announcement. I'm 100% convinced Kenya will get developed. I'm not 100% confident that I can give you the exact timetable.
and so in terms of the lag between FID and first oil, how long do you think that might take?
Well, the construction is going to be about 2.5 years, so from when we take the FID decision. It's still feasible to have it by the end of this year, but everything would have to fall in place essentially tomorrow. So I think there's a thought amongst the government and the partners that unless things happen very quickly, it's likely going to slip into next year. But I think we're all pulling in the same direction. We'd like to get that FID done as soon as possible because we're burning cash until that happens.
And the very interesting move into Nigerian deep water, I think, took a few people by surprise. Could you maybe explain a little bit about what the thinking was behind that?
Well, I think what we were looking for, we had $400 million sitting in the bank collecting dust, or collecting 1.5% interest. I think the idea is put that money to work. So we looked around, where are we going to do it? I think most of the people didn't want us to just go out and blow it all on high-risk exploration. But buying production, especially production that returned cash for us to use in Kenya, I think was a sensible move. The real challenge is, where do you find low-cost, high-quality production? There's just not that much of it around that people are willing to sell at a reasonable price. So I think we got into a unique situation where Petrobras was kind of a forced seller because they were trying to fix up their balance sheet. There wasn't a huge amount of people who were keen on this asset. A small non-operated interest in deep water Nigeria. You're probably eliminating 70-80% of the market that you'd normally be competing against. So I think we were able to get in and get a good deal. And honestly, we think of, not to be too glib about it, but we see Nigeria as our ATM. It just keeps spitting out cash. These are 2 of the biggest fields in Africa, 3 of the 10 largest fields in Africa. I think they tend to keep getting bigger as time goes on, and I think it was a unique opportunity to really get into a high-quality asset at a reasonable cost.
Fantastic. And there's another quite interesting move where you've taken equity stakes in sort of other sort of small exploration companies. Why was that the move?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unconventional, our what we call our portfolio approach. We kind of we realized that what we're good at and how we've created value in the past is through exploration. So we kind of about 2 years ago started saying, well, let's get back in the exploration game. But that's not a kind of on and off switch. You need to go out, start contacting host governments, going to bid rounds, or starting to do farm-ins with people that have acreage. It's not a quick process, but we had an opportunity that there were 3 good companies: Africa Energy, which is actually spun out of our company, Impact Oil and Gas, and Echo Atlantic, that all had good portfolios, but in the climate were not able to raise money. So we were able to come in, give them basically operating cash and some money to pay future costs for them, and take a significant interest in the company. And the good part of that is now we have really high impact wells going in the next 2 years. We'll drill at least 6 really high impact wells, which we couldn't have done sort of any other way. So I think we've already made one big discovery in South Africa in Brulpada. We're very happy to be part of that. We got some very exciting wells coming up next month in Guyana through our Echo investment. And then we've got the real big swing for the fence, the Venus prospect, which is not for the faint of heart. It's in 3,200 meters of water, and it is geologically risky, but it is the biggest submarine fan we've ever seen. So Total will be drilling that somewhere towards the end of this year, early next year. So again, to go from basically no exploration portfolio to being involved in probably 3 of the 5 hottest plays on Earth, with just writing 3 checks, I think was a good idea. Not everybody supported it, but right now my investment's worth double what I started, and I think with any success it could be easily triple, quadruple with what I put in the near future. So, as usual, time will tell, and drill bit will make a hero or a goat out of me. But I've had that happen before.
And what do you think the greatest challenge facing Africa Oil is at the moment?
I'm getting Kenya up and running. I mean, I think people are not giving us credit for Kenya because people have just been watching us for the last several years, kind of sort of, I'd say, stuck in the horse latitudes. So I think once we and our partners, Tullow and Total, all say the same thing, Kenya's moving forward. We're making FID decisions, shortly, or once we actually announce, then we'll start getting credit for Kenya. I think Nigeria, we don't see as many challenges there. These are old established fields with very good operators, and I think we see these fields performing well into the future. Exploration is exploration, so while we're all excited, you have to remember that worldwide it's about 15% chance of success. So we're not going to hit them all. So far we're 1 for 2. We drilled 1 dry hole in Namibia in Pel 37. We've drilled 1 discovery in South Africa. I'd say these next ones we're going to drill though in Guyana. I will be surprised if we don't find hydrocarbons there. They're right next to all those Exxon discoveries, and they've got all the seismic attributes that we look for.
Sure. And we're here at the Africa E&P Summit. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what you've taken from the event and what you come back looking for.
No, this is, I think, my 3rd year. I think I've been here every year it's been here, and I think it's growing every year, and I think most of the people that I want to see are here. Not only other oil companies, but investors, analysts, and I think it's a great forum. I think Gail's done a fantastic job putting together a nice venue with the right people, with the right mix of talk. So, very reminiscent of the early days of Cape Town. I think she's kind of repeating some of that success. So, I would expect next year to be 30% bigger, and the year after that to be 30% bigger again. So, I think she's done a great job.
Excellent. Thank you very much.